Coming up right now at 6 a.m., breaking overnight, a close call for many homes, even our station. The Loma fire pushed by strong winds burning on TV Hill this morning. We'll have an update on the firefight, which has now moved to our patio. We'll have the very latest.
Welcome news out of the Middle East, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. I'm Laura Podesta with details on why this truce is being called fragile.
And with coronavirus cases continuing to be at a year-long low, we get an update on what your summer travel plans may look like. The morning news starts right now, and we take you live out to TV Hill. This is our Skycam. There is a Montecito fire truck that has just pulled up to our back patio, and they are shooting water on top of this flare-up that we have been watching for the last hour or so. It was the most active part of the Loma fire that we have seen this morning, but you can see how strong the winds are. The grasses and the brush and the smoke all being blown by those strong winds. This is our top story this morning, and it's right outside our building. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on the Morning News. I'm Joe Butita. Ryan Fish is in the First Alert Weather Center. We'll check in with him and find the winds, what the winds are doing in just a moment. But let's take you back outside. We have live pictures all over the place because, again, this is right outside of our building. This is the Loma fire. Started last night just before 9 o'clock. It has burned about 10 acres, but it's in very steep terrain, so it's been tough for firefighters to get to. 50% contained as of this morning. Here's another look at what these firefighters are doing. They've literally pulled up their fire truck onto TV Hill, onto our back patio, where we have been many times, obviously, with a great view, the best view of any TV station in the country, and now our patio. They're doing a great job to get on this one spot they were having a really hard time getting into with the hand crews, which we can also see from other angles that we have. Our Skycam really shows the best of it, probably, of what's actually being done right now when it comes to the firefight with the Loma fire. Our Keith Carls has another angle. We're going to talk to him. He's on the bottom of the hill right now. And Keith, we're watching this from up top. You're watching it from down below. What are you seeing this morning?
Well, they appear to be doing a good job of dousing that flare-up that we've been watching all morning right below our studios up there on TV Hill. That fire truck pouring a lot of water on that flare-up right now as we speak. So a lot of smoke. But again, this remains an active fire this morning. And as expected, as forecasted, the winds have returned this morning to the Loma fire zone, and it whipped up the smoldering embers that burned overnight and again caused some ignition in the dry vegetation and oak that is on TV Hill here behind me. Smoke and some flames could be seen earlier this morning in the burn area. And again, firefighters have been out here all night and early this morning, keeping a close watch on any flare-ups in the fire zone, both here on TV Hill and other locations where the fire spread. When the Loma fire started last night, there were mandatory evacuations that were ordered, and it affected hundreds of people who live or work in the area of the fire. They didn't have much time to react because the fire spread very quickly.
And I was watching the television, and all of a sudden ashes are flying up in the air.
Yeah.
It was sweeping up TV Hillside, kind of away from the TV station, right at where I was sitting. And then I think the wind really, really bad, really heavy. And it kind of swept it up to the edge of the house, which I've always tried to make a fire there.
Now, those mandatory evacuations were lifted earlier this morning, but the fire zone, as I mentioned, is active. We have lots of firefighters on this morning, and again, it's burning in very dry brush, in very steep conditions on TV Hill especially, and again, with the return of gusty winds, it's going to be a special challenge for the firefighters as they try to get on top of this as far as containment and then eventually putting it out. The cause of the Loma fire is under investigation, and I'll take a step out of the shot, Joe, and try to get you a shot of the burn scar here on TV Hill. You can see that, I believe, as I tilt up, You can see where it burned last night. All the way up to the top where those beautiful homes are at the very top of the hill. And then you can see some of the dry brush and vegetation that remains in the fire's path. So again, there's a lot of work yet to be done, and we have a lot of resources that remain on the fire this morning, so we will continue to monitor it as the morning news continues. Joe, I'll send it back to you.
Keith, great update. Thank you for that. And we'll go back to some of our live pictures as we continue to watch what's happening with the Loma fire. Those firefighters from Montecito Fire, which have pulled up on our back patio, continue to hit this one spot. It was burning pretty good. If you walked outside here on our patio, you could really hear the flames just smacking against each other and burning up all those bushes and dry brush. A lot of poison oak as well, is what city firefighters have told us. We talked to Jim McCoy earlier this morning from Santa Barbara City Fire, and he was saying that they're watching the winds, although they've calmed down considerably. And here's the shot now from Keith down below. So we've got this covered on all sides. Again, not a big fire, but where it's burning is of concern, not only because we're here for the fire at the TV station, but there are homes nearby as well. And with the embers being pushed by the winds, that's when you get some possible for spot fires. But man, they just knocked that thing out with that attack here up on TV Hill. Great work with the fire hose from those guys from Montecito Fire. Ryan Fisher in the First Alert Weather Center. Let's talk about what the weather is looking like, the winds looking like, and that's kind of the big question mark today. And
that's why it's important that firefighters really got on that. And we were impressed that they pulled that fire truck onto our back patio. And I'm going to go back and see that. But first, show you this live shot. Talk about these sensors that we have around the city. And 5 miles an hour currently with the winds at this sensor. I mean, that could be a bit deceptive. The temperature certainly 53 degrees as we are looking at a cold morning for us here. But let's go back to this projection here for today's wind and another sensor that we have in the city. Wind is going to pick up as we go through the day. That's why these firefighters, and these are sustained wind numbers. So somewhere else in the city, seeing that wind already up in the teens, and that is going to only get worse as we go through the day for parts of the looks this is something of concern for firefighters. Lingering hotspots pick up because as you mentioned, Joe, just one of those embers is all it takes to really start a new one, to damage homes as well in the area. So that certainly be watching as we currently. This other sensor only 4 miles out, it's certainly stronger than times, and it's just northwest, so below south and this morning as well. These are still our updated numbers. Gusts in the foothill areas still reaching north of 35, even 40 miles an hour in some spots this morning, and this is considered the calm part of the day. So we'll be watching these winds all day today, and we'll have an update for you as the day goes on, and I'll send it back to you, Joe, but winds are certainly the biggest question mark and the biggest concern for all of us.
Absolutely. They're going to try to stamp this thing out. The wind stronger. All right, taking you around the world now, and the ceasefire that has been brokered in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, the militant group. The Gaza Strip has seen more than a week now of violence, these rockets being fired back and forth. But can the peace deal hold? Here's Laura Podesta.
A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas went into effect early this morning. The agreement ended a week-and-a-half-long conflict that left 12 dead in Israel and claimed the lives of at least 230 Palestinians. President Biden welcomed the announcement and said it could serve as a starting point for a lasting peace in the region.
I believe we have a genuine opportunity to make progress, and I'm committed to working for it.
The president said the U.S. would help rearm Israel's Iron Dome, the missile defense system credited with limiting casualties. Mr. Biden also promised to send humanitarian aid to Gaza.
We will do this in for the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, Authority, in a manner that does not permit Hamas to simply restock its military arsenal.
Both sides claimed victory despite the lopsided death toll. In Gaza City, Palestinians took to the streets to celebrate the end of the fighting. A statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hailed the operation against Hamas as significant and unprecedented.
I don't think Israel has achieved much. I mean, there are no agreements about the future, nothing.
The government of Egypt brokered the ceasefire deal. Egyptian diplomats will head to Israel and Gaza to ensure that it's enforced and to work on a more durable solution.
It is 6:10, still ahead here on the morning news. Getting more shots into people's arms, how Santa Barbara plans to get more of those who are eligible vaccinated. And the annual Stamp Out Hunger, well, it's going to be different this year. It's a great program to raise food and donations. Had to call it off due to COVID, the changes that are being made, and how you can still help.
Quick check of your commute, and in the Santa Barbara area, it's flowing smoothly for now, so good news there. If you're doing the drive from Santa Barbara to Ventura, or should say Ventura to Santa Barbara right now, south to north, 25 minutes. Drive safely.